Guys, the banks are in a ton of trouble, and I cannot overstate this too much. It's time to begin working towards getting your money out. Today's video comes from the Snyder Report. His channel will be linked in the description so you can go check him out and support him. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of what's happening with the banks, especially as Trump is now going to be coming back into power very soon. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but it looks like hundreds of U.S. banks are at risk of failure once again. We are now hearing more and more rumors that banks are trying to hold on to cash. They're trying to not lend any more money, and they're trying to get you to make repayments quicker. That's what they're trying to do. Now, why? What is the purpose behind this, and how much are we impacted if our money is sitting in the bank right now? So if we currently have our money sitting in the bank, how much at risk are we right now? Well, according to many, they say the risk is very minimal because there's FDIC insurance. Here's what I can tell you. FDIC has about $120 billion to their name. That is a pretty good chunk of change. The only bad side to that is they have $120 billion, but there's over $19 trillion in U.S. deposits. That means less than 1% of all the U.S. deposits is even insured if every single bank were to go under.
So they constantly tell us that our money is insured, our money is safe, our money is protected, but there's $19 trillion in US assets, but only less than 1% of those assets are actually insured. The government cannot actually protect us from like a catastrophic failure. That's the reason why they're constantly bailing out the big banks to make it look like they can, but the reality is that they can't. If we end up having a situation where there's a massive failure in the economy and these banks are beginning to shut down and they all need bailouts, if it's multiple banks, and I predict it will be multiple large banks, guys, we're talking about, them saying, well, we need anywhere from $1 trillion to $2 trillion just to cover our deposits. And when that happens, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, they're not going to step in. And what are people going to be doing? They're going to be dumping the remaining assets in crypto and buying crypto because they're not going to trust the banks. Guys, the financial world is changing fast, and you can't afford to be left behind. At Angry Crypto Academy, we're here to arm you with the knowledge you need to navigate the volatile world of cryptocurrency. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking to safeguard your wealth, when the banks finally fail, our courses are designed to give you the edge. Don't wait until it's too late. Join Angry Crypto Academy today and secure your financial future before it's too late. The clock is ticking, and the time to act is now.
Here's the good news. Every single bank will not go under. But look at this. It says why hundreds of U.S. banks may be at risk of failure. And it has something to do with commercial real estate and loans. Look at this right here. It says Office CMBS. This is commercial mortgage-backed securities. Delinquencies double in 1 year. It says delinquencies of CMBS conduit loans secured by U.S. office properties increased 56 basis points in the last month to reach 10.35%. Okay, so commercial real estate is struggling. Office buildings are going unpaid. Now banks are getting these buildings back. Banks don't want the buildings that they previously lent money to. And these buildings were worth $300 million, $200 million, $100 million. And now they're worth, in some cases, 10 to 25% of what they were originally loaned out for. That's a problem. But look at this right here. It says banks raise capital to brace for further commercial property losses, according to the Fed. So the Federal Reserve is saying that banks are raising capital, just bracing for commercial property losses. Here's the reason why this should be extremely concerning to you, is that banks, especially the smaller banks, they are going to have a bailout. And a bailout is something where the bank is bailed out by the government. Okay? We're not going to see a federal bailout for smaller banks. This is part of the issue. The bailout will come if we see like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, okay? If we see one of the big banks go under, there'll be a bailout. We will see the American taxpayers bail out banks once again. But the concern is that we aren't going to see the big banks go under. It's going to be the smaller ones, the local banks, the regional banks. Those are the ones that are having the problems right now. If they go under, guess what? You may start to see your money is used. But how? Well, it's called a bail-in, where the lenders, okay, the people that are depositing their money at the banks, those people that are lending the bank money, pretty much for free, those people are gonna bail in the bank, which means the banks are gonna use your deposits to keep them from failing. Yeah, that's the issue. And that's where millions of people are extremely concerned. This is one of the reasons why I always tell people, never leave your money in one bank. Take a little bit of money, put it here. A little bit of money and put it in the next bank. A little bit of money, put it in the next one. Make sure your money is spread out in just different spots, right? Don't put it all in the same spot, just in case a bank does go under. Now, I don't think a bank is going to go under, especially these bigger banks, anytime soon. When I say soon, I'm talking about the next 4 to 6 months. But look at this right here. JP Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan, says Jamie Dimon says bankers are dancing in the street because they expect Trump to cut regulation. Now, what's he talking about there? Well, what he's talking about is something that we've seen before, because keep in mind, President-elect Donald Trump is coming into his second term in office. This is not his first term. This would be his second term. But it was not consecutive. So in 2016, when Donald Trump was inaugurated and he was our president, right, until 2020. Well, here's what happened. We saw certain things get done for the banking industry. Okay? But I want to read this to you. I want to read you what Jamie Dimon is saying. It says right here, you could have kept the banks equally safe, but had them do more credit. It says the average U.S. bank used to hold $100 in deposits for every $100 it loaned out. Okay, so it would get $100 as a deposit, and then it would loan out that $100. Okay, that's how it used to work. But things are a little bit different now. Okay, I want to show you this. Look at this right here. It says, but now it lends only $65 for every $100 worth of deposits. Okay, so I have a $100 deposit right here, and then you have this, which is $65 that's going to be lent out, which means the other 35%, the other $35 is going to stay in the bank. That other $35 is not making the bank any money. Okay? Only the $65 that was lent out is making the bank money, which means the bank is not making as much money as it used to, which means it's not as profitable. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, this is one of the things that we could see go back to the way things used to be. You get $100 in the bank, right? You can lend out that $100. You get another $100 in the bank. You can again lend out that $100. Now, this is why many people are worried, because everyone says, oh, well, If we get $100 in the bank and we just lend it out, right, then that puts all the risk back on us. Well, here's what you need to understand. Back in 2007, the great financial crisis, this wasn't because the banks were lending out every single dollar that they brought in. No. Banks were in trouble because of their lending practices. Okay? Because they were lending money to people with no income, no job, no verification. Okay? They were lending money, and they were, in some cases, they were lending 110, 115% loan to value.
So they were lending money out to Chad, Tyrone, Ray, Pookie, Enrique, Miguel, Juan, Pancho. They love little Pancho. They love little Pancho. And of course his brother Sancho. These were the men that were getting these loans. These were the men that were taking these. They have no job, no money, no real purpose in life, and they were getting these loans, and they were called subprime mortgages. And of course they were having a lot of fun. They were drinking away that money, pissing away that money, and the banks did not care because it wasn't their money, so why would they give a damn? And as a result of that, when Obama came in, he ended up making these major bailouts and giving them massive amounts, hundreds of billions of dollars in bailouts. And it was not just like little mom and pop banks, it was giant banks. I forget if Bank of America was one of them. We're talking about all these big banks ended up needing bailout money, consumer money, public money. All right, taxpayer money. These are the consequences. That's what they did back then. And I guarantee you they're still doing this in another way. Right now, people are completely tapped out. They don't want to extend lines of credit anymore. They don't want to give people money anymore. This is why I keep on telling you guys, you need to make sure your credit is good. You need to know what you're doing. There's a lot of these idiots who are like, oh, having good credit doesn't matter. I have multiple properties and I have terrible credit. And you want to sit here and boast about that? Because your credit score is also a predictor. It's also an indicator of how well you're able to manage wealth and manage money. If you have horrible credit, that is an indicator that you're having trouble managing your money. Okay? If you don't have at least a credit score in the 600s, you have issues. If your credit score is in the fours or fives, no one wants to deal with you. I'm telling you, that's a big problem with a lot of men today. Like, they don't talk about responsibility. You need to be accountable for your finances and learn discipline, because discipline will allow you to have an easier life.
Which means the loan would be, let's say, $150,000, but the value of the home that they were lending on was only like $135,000. They were giving an additional $15,000 to you as a buyer. Guess what? You were upside down in your loan from day one. That was the reason why banks were in trouble back then. Banks are in trouble now for a completely different reason. According to experts, they say it's because of overregulation. Others say it's because no, they are in a little bit of a bind here because they have lent to businesses that are going to stop paying on their loans and just give them back their commercial property. Guess what? Banks don't want that. Banks aren't in the business of flipping real estate, holding on to real estate and becoming a landlord. That's not what banks want to do. Banks are in the business of lending. That's how they make money. So, just to be very clear, this whole issue, this whole crisis is going to come to a point in the first quarter of 2025. So probably about February, March 2025, we're going to see where more than $1 trillion in commercial real estate has to be refinanced. If it doesn't, it's going to go back to the banks. And when banks receive these, guess what? They're going to be in trouble.
You have to remember that a lot of these banks, they were extremely irresponsible. They're responsible with all of our money. And now they're going to end up in a situation where companies that can no longer afford to pay them, that can no longer afford their properties, they're just going to hand those properties back. And the bank is going to have all of these properties that cost now $1 million, $3 million for a property that if it was correctly adjusted for inflation, it would be something more like maybe 100 to 150,000, maybe 200,000. But now you have these properties going for well over $3 million. That's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's the world we live in today. So they're going to become landlords and they don't know what to do. So, because they're not in the business of renting out real estate. So they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. They're not going to be able to pay their bills because they're going to have a lot of this property that they have to hang on to. And keep in mind, guys, property is not free. So when they own this property, what do they have to do? They have to pay taxes on it. They have to pay taxes, property taxes. They have to hire people to take care of these properties and to manage these properties and to maintain the upkeep of these properties. Because if they are not maintaining the upkeep of these properties for even a year or two, these properties will begin to fall apart. That's the funniest thing about all of this. Okay? Like you have a property and a large property at that. The windows have not been cleaned. The floors have not been cleaned. It's dusty in there. It's all you don't have a staff that's maintaining these properties. Everything starts to erode. These properties sit around for just a few years, and now when they want to lease these properties or correction sell these properties, it becomes even more difficult because the new buyer is going to say this place is filthy. There's been no upkeep for the last couple of years. We're going to have to hire people to either fix like the flooring and the windows and the roofing and all of this stuff, because simple things end up becoming large things, and it's going to cost massive amounts of money. And they're going to say to the banks, we don't want this. And that's if the banks can even find buyers. And right now it's going to be a buyer's market. The buyers are going to say, yeah, we're not going to pay. We're not going to give you this amount of money for these properties. And the banks are going to say, well, we can't sell it to you for less than this. This property isn't worth more than 200K. It's 3 million. No, 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 no. It's not worth more than 200K. We're not giving you 200K for it. We're giving you 150. Okay? And the banks cannot sell it for that amount of money because they've already loaned out so much money to finance it that they have to make back a certain amount just to break even. So they're between a rock and a hard place. So what ends up happening? The banks cannot pay back the money that they've borrowed to loan to people to buy these buildings. So now they're going to find themselves in a situation where they can't give you your money back. Then they're trying to restrict deposits as much as possible, but it gets to a point where they can no longer be liquid, so they're going to have to shut their doors. And we already know that it's not a game with Trump. Trump is not playing games with these banks. Elon is not playing games. Okay, they're going to let these things fail. They're going to let these banks fail. There's a lot of change coming right now. Okay, because they can figure it out. They can basically say, well, what happens if these banks start to fail? Because you have to understand they want to shut down the Federal Reserve. The big push right now, the big thing right now for Elon and Trump and I cannot pronounce his name, but the Indian dude, they want to shut the Federal Reserve down. A lot of the Republicans want to shut that down. They want to pick up where JFK left off. Okay, it's funny, we have RFK in there as well. So they want to pick that legacy back up. So they're willing to go there, and they're willing to let people suffer and let people who have money in these things suffer and realize that the banking system is not as secure as they think it is. They're willing to say, well, there's only $100 billion in the for the FDIC fund. It cannot cover all of these failures, and we're not going to go and borrow more money from China to cover, the failure of all these banks and all this toxic real estate. And another thing that people are not taking into consideration is what the boomers have done. Many of the boomers, they still owe so much money on their properties. Those properties are not paid off. They've been sucking the equity out of those properties for decades. This is one of the most evil things that the boomers have done. So it's going to put a lot of people in very, very hard play in a very hard place. A lot of the boomers are going to go under for this because they're not going to be able to pay those mortgages. A lot of those mortgages are adjustable, and the boomers are greedy. So when those adjustable mortgages we see like they start to skyrocket up, and the boomers can't afford those mortgages. They can't afford those payments. They're gonna lose their homes. And many of them who thought that, well, the first they're going to eat through their savings, trying to save their homes, because they're going to say it's still cheaper to own your home than it is to go and rent something, because rents are insane right now, which is also because of the boomers. And then after they've exhausted all of their resources, and there's all these promises the Democrats are telling them that they're going to fight for them to get them hundreds of thousands of dollars to to cover the cost of their homes that they were irresponsible with, after pillaging the economy. They're going to believe this garbage. It's not going to happen. And they're going to rapidly begin losing their homes and ending up homeless with no savings at all, no money as they head into homelessness because they wasted the little they had left trying to save their home, trying to save their properties. And of course, because of what the boomers did to their children, their children don't have that kind of money. They don't have that kind of money to take their boomer parents in and give them that life and finance them. Guys, when over 10 years ago, I experienced homelessness, and there was a lot of old homeless people out there, and many of them had kids, and many of them had kids that had money. There was like a guy, his mother was out there. She was one of the real homeless people, and they were saying that they were saying that her son owned like a McDonald's franchise. I knew a bunch of women in their 50s and 60s, and their kids their kids were doing just fine. Sometimes their kids would even come and visit their homeless parents. I'm not lying to you. All right? Their kids would come and visit their homeless parents, maybe take them to McDonald's, buy them a meal, and then drop them right back off on the street. This is insane. It's insane stuff. That's another reason why you have to be good to your kids. If you have kids, be good to your kids. It doesn't mean your kids will always come back and bail you out and take care of you. But typically, if you are good to your kids, they are more likely to be good to you, if as long as you raise them right and didn't allow them to become spoiled brats. But if you are horrible to your kids growing up, like I had horrible parents. Many of you say in the comments, they're like angry you just had bad parents. I know. That was like pretty much most of us though. Like a lot of Gen Xers, we have so much trauma. Gen Xers and Zennials and some older millennials, we have a lot of trauma. And it's because of our bad parents. So, these parents who left us with nothing and stole everything from us, like my parents, we had a lot of money. We had my parents, well, not us, but my parents did. They had a lot of intergenerational wealth from my grandparents, and we got access to none of it. These people are horrible people. They left us with nothing, and they sold all of their parents' stuff. Some of them still have like on my father's side, they still have ancestral lands and stuff like that. But we don't have access to any of that. None of us, like, they took all of it for themselves. We don't know anything about this stuff. Okay. But worst case scenario, this is like how it is in places like Mexico too. They have ancestral land, so even if you're ever flat broke, you can always go back to your parents' land, where that your siblings have and everything, and your cousins or whatever, and you can live on that land, so you will never fully be homeless. You always have a place to go back to. That's how it is with a lot of these people. They don't tell you this. A lot of our parents don't tell you this stuff, but they do have ancestral lands. Especially if they're not, if they, like let's say they immigrated from places, even places like Italy and Ireland and these types of places. Yeah, they don't tell you this stuff. They do not tell you this stuff because they have land that's been passed down from generation to generation. We don't get any access to that stuff because these people are not good. These people are bad people. The boomers are bad people. They kept everything for themselves, and they put us in this horrible situation. We're now flat broke, guys. I keep telling y'all, don't mess around, guys. They're beginning to say, you know what? We don't even want your money anymore. Certain money is going out the door right now. Like, guys, I keep telling you, jump into crypto. Don't play around. Learn crypto. All right. Because, like, for example, they're actually saying that like $1 bills are no longer being accepted in some places. There's a reason for that.
Well, it's happening. You might have to say goodbye to $1 bills because certain stores will not be accepting them anymore. I want to break down what's going on, what stores are saying that no, they will not take your $1 bills. But what you have to do as a result. So the $1 bill, that's the bill in question right now. That is what most people have. You walk around and ask somebody, hey, do you got any spare change? In most cases, they'll give you $1. That's what they have. That's what people carry. Well, guess what? This was the first bill made, okay? First bill printed, the $1. It was in, I believe, 1862. But back then, it did not have George Washington's face on it. It actually had the Treasury Secretary's face on the bill. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all this is because that $1 bill is going to go away very soon. I've talked about the hundreds, I've talked about 50s and 20s, and even the 5s, 10s, and $1 bill. But today, we're specifically talking about the $1 bill, and I want to show you why. This is an article that came out this past week. It says, say goodbye to $1 bills. Walmart won't accept them anymore, starting in November. So yes, 17 days ago, Walmart decided they're going to stop accepting certain $1 bills. Now, I want to be very clear on one thing. It is certain $1 bills that Walmart will not accept. A $1 bill that looks like this, okay, that has one fold in the middle, that is it. But other than that, this dollar bill is in great condition, okay? Excellent condition. This next dollar bill that I'm going to show you right here, I want to show this to you as well. Look at this dollar bill. Has too many folds, has a little kind of, you can see up here, it's kind of folded down, okay? That will zoom in on that, okay? No, anyway. So the problem with this $1 bill is that according to Walmart, this is going to be harder for their cashiers to decide and determine if this is real or fake. Now, here's the problem. At Walmart, most people are paying with 20s, 10s, 5s, and $1 bills. They're not paying with hundreds. So that's the reason why they are putting $1 bills kind of as that priority. Let's stop accepting those bills. But here's the crazy thing. It's not just Walmart. Walmart's doing this, Target, Sam's Club, Costco.
What they are really doing here is they are pushing certain people out of the system, and they're trying to make it harder to survive. So basically, when you use a debit card, people tend to spend more if they use a debit card. Or if they use larger bills, they also tend to spend more because it's going to be more difficult to get change. Guys, that adds up to a lot of money. So they're basically forcing you to spend more so they can keep more of your money. How insane is that? People will literally have to say, okay, well, I'm going to pick up this and this and this extra things so that I can get a $5 bill or a $10 bill. And keep in mind, it's not very hard for them to say, I'm sorry, we're out of $5 bills. I can't check you out. This is how insane it is, but we have plenty of 20s. So you want to make sure that everything is like divisible by 20. I'm not messing around. This is how messed up it is. They don't want low-income shoppers anymore. They want them to spend, spend, spend. Now, keep in mind, Walmart announced they were doing this 17 days ago. So this actually happened prior to Trump even becoming president. This is something they were planning for quite some time. This is something they decided to begin doing under the Biden administration. Okay? This is sick. Absolutely sick. Oh, we're sorry. We can't look at this bill. This bill is no good. So we're not going to, if your bill is crumbled, we're just not going to accept it. I mean, how long is it before they start doing that with $5 bills also? What this is a major push to a cashless society. They don't want people using cash anymore. Okay? So if you want to purchase there and you want to spend less than a certain amount of money, you need to use your debit card. Guys, they're trying to hold up the cash. They're trying to hold on to as much cash as possible because physical cash right now is difficult. The banks don't have it, and it's costing more to access it. This is the craziest world we live in. It's a psychotic reality. They've been fudging the books, they've been fudging the numbers, and it's the boomers.
I've actually had a bill returned to me at Costco as well, and the dollar store. This was the craziest thing. The dollar store, of all places, the dollar store will not accept certain dollar bills. Well, I want to read a few comments, and here's the reason why. This isn't anything new. I've been saying this for months, that just wait, because certain stores will not be accepting certain bill denominations. Some stores aren't going to accept hundreds and fifties, and that, they say, is for security reasons. But I've also gone to places where they won't accept a $20 bill. The highest they'll accept is a 10. Well, especially if you don't have a credit card or a debit card, and that's your only form of payment is cash. Well, let's say your bill's $90 some, and all you have, or all they're willing to accept, is $10 bills. So you have to come up with 10 different bills. Yeah, most people aren't carrying $10 bills in their wallet. I know I'm not. Let me read this comment to you. This person wrote to me a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. It says, "You were right again. I went into Walmart and tried paying with cash. The cashier first took my money without any problems, but then returned a $10 bill and 4 $1 bills back to me. She said, 'We don't take any cash that is in bad shape.' So luckily, I was able to pay with my credit card, and on I went."
So notice what they just did here. It wasn't just $1 bills, it was also $10 bills now. This is not because the money is in bad shape, guys. They have an easy way to figure out if the money is real or not. Oh, we can't take this money because it's in bad shape. That's absolute nonsense. It's too crumbled. It's not perfectly brand new, guys. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. This is a means of them being able to refuse your money. This is a means of them being able to get you to use your card. This is a means of them getting you to use your card and spend more. This is about fees, because, when you use your card, now not only can they charge you, not only are they able to charge you using your card, but they're also going to make money off the credit card fees as well. That amounts to billions of dollars a year for them in additional revenue. Just from those credit card and debit card fees, guys. These people are stealing from us. They are 100% stealing from us. They're stealing everything. And they're trying to convince us that, oh, well, it's for protection. It's to prevent fraud. It's not to prevent fraud. It's to prevent us from using cash. They don't want us using cash anymore. And no one is walking around with $100 bills. Okay? No one's walking around with just $100 bills and $20 bills, okay? Or $50 bills. It makes no sense to walk around with that kind of money. All right? Most people are going to use tens, $5, 5 tens, and maybe 20s, and that's it. So they're trying to eliminate it, and don't be shocked when they start doing it to 20s as well, if they already aren't doing it to 20s.
But what if I was buying something expensive and wanted to pay with cash? Now, I thought about this. Why would somebody hide what they're trying to buy? Okay, it doesn't make any sense. Are you trying to hide from the federal government what you're trying to buy? Well, here in my case, just to give you an example. So it was my wife's birthday this past week, and should I have purchased something on a card, or should I have paid with cash? Luckily I have certain cards that my wife doesn't have any access to. She can use it, she can spend, but as far as what the statement says, as far as how much is on the credit card balance, she has no clue. She has no access to it. So for her birthday, I decided I was going to use that card. I was going to buy her a gift, and so she'd have no clue if she went back through any statements or any bank transactions. She wouldn't know what it cost. Okay, but it was for her birthday, and so I was thinking, you know what? That could be a reason why you'd buy an expensive gift, and you wouldn't want your significant other to know what it costs or what you just purchased.
There's another factor as well, guys, and that is the state not being able to track every single thing you purchase. Because when you purchase things using a credit card, it creates a massive paper trail. In other words, they don't want you to be able to go into a store and buy anything anonymously anymore. They want to be able to track every purchase you make. Every purchase we make. So basically, you will owe nothing and be happy. All right. They want to be able to go into your accounts and find out, you purchased this and this and this. So it's a matter of always having you under surveillance. They want to track everything you do. They want to track everywhere you go. They want to track every purchase you make. They want to control the money supply. They don't want you using cash anymore. So they want to control where you spend your money, how you spend your money. Oh, we don't want people buying certain things or, are spending your money in certain places. So what do? They pass rules and regulations that banks have to scrutinize certain transactions even more than others. Did you know that most of the time now, or pretty much every credit card, you can no longer buy things like cryptocurrency? But it's not just cryptocurrency. You're gonna say, well, that's crypto. Okay, yeah, guys, but it could be a variety of different things and items, guys. It's a very, very strange world we live in right now. All right, where they'll scrutinize even something like a laptop purchase. This is the reality. They want to make sure they can track everything that you do. And by making it more difficult to use cash, oh, no ones, no fives, no tens. Next, it's no 20s, guys. And at that point, when it's, oh, we can't accept 20s in this shape, you're done. Guys, at this point, it's pretty much already over. But so they're basically just pestering you and pushing you, forcing you into a system where now you basically stop using cash. What else are you going to do? Either you're going to purchase your things online, you're going to get them from Instacart, you're going to get them from Amazon, whatever. But we are being quickly pushed towards a cashless society. That's why Bitcoin is now at $90,000. Many of you might think that you missed well, I'm screwed, I didn't do any of that, guys. There are a lot of alternative coins, altcoins, and crap coins that you can get into, and you can make massive amounts of money. I've been in crypto about 10 years right now. Many of you guys know me from the past. I know a lot about cryptocurrency. I know a lot about investing. I've made tens of thousands of dollars from cryptocurrency, and a lot of people who studied under me have also learned how to do crypto and have learned how to make significant amounts of money, as well as protecting their wealth and resources through crypto, guys. It's time to learn. It is 100% time to learn crypto and start and know what coins to get into so that you can make massive wealth, because a lot of these coins 10x or even 100x. Dogecoin is now up to, like, I think, what is it, like almost $1 a coin, something like that, guys. It's projected to go to $1 a coin soon. It's like up to 87 cents a coin, guys. Dogecoin used to be like less than, I'm trying to look for the number. It was like 0.00000001, of a coin. It was like less than a tenth of a coin. It was worth less than a tenth of a penny. It was like what? It was like 1/1000 of a penny. All right, or 1/10,000 of a penny, and now it's up to like 87 cents a coin. So there's a lot of room for growth right now. There's so much room for growth, guys. I actually publish a list over on my Cryptocurrency Academy, on my Crypto Academy, where I tell you what coins you should be getting into. If you don't know what to invest in, if you don't know what cryptos to invest in, this is what you do. How you can use crypto to safeguard your wealth. How you can build a decentralized bank account. All of those things you can get over my Cryptocurrency Academy, and that's linked in the description of the video, guys. You can't mess around. Do not mess around. Don't mess around, or else you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, there's other reasons why as well, but for me, that was the reason why. And this is the other one. The person said, we don't take any cash that's in bad shape. Well, what is considered bad shape, right? Something like this. If there was a little tear in it, would that be considered bad shape? If the whole thing was ripped in half and taped back together, would that be in bad shape? That we don't know. Again, just so you know, one tear, according to Walmart, according to many banks, one tear is acceptable. Now, if you have multiple tears, let's say 3 or more, and they're all taped back together, well, that creates an issue. But one tear is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable according to banks. But Walmart tellers will be completely different. Every single one would be different. Let me read you the response that somebody gave this person.
So Walmart and other companies like Walmart, Target, the places where you would actually spend money, they're like, oh, no, we're not going to accept that. We cannot. That's just our policy. But you can take it to the bank, exchange it at the bank, and the bank will give you a fresh bill, and you can come back and spend it here. And they know exactly what they're doing because who wants to go to all of that stress? What they're really doing is nudging you towards not using cash anymore. How many people are walking around today? And I will tell you guys, it was a shocking experience for me where I had to go to the doctor. I had a doctor's visit, and it's not that I have cash, I have money, but I had to go to the doctor, and I grabbed an Uber, went over to the doctor, and I needed to stop by. I think I needed to stop by CVS and do something, and it just hit me. I had no cash. I need to buy something with cash. And I'm like, holy cow, I don't have any cash. And I had been, guys, I had literally been going about living my life with no cash at all. Like, not even a dollar in my pocket because everything had gone digital. And that's the reason why you have to understand crypto is so important, guys. They don't want us using money. They don't want us to have access to physical money anymore. That's what they've done in places like India. That's what they've done in China. It's tyranny. It is 100% tyranny, guys, because there's no real liquidity anymore, guys. They basically gave out too much money during the events of 2020. And how did they give out that money, guys? They didn't print it. They pushed a button and poof, all of this money was made out of nowhere. That's why they've been fighting for years now, trying to drive down inflation by raising interest rates and trying to dry up all the phony money in the economy and get some of that money back. And they've completely failed. They have completely failed to calm inflation down. And I'm telling you guys, once Trump gets in there, once Elon gets in there, they're going to start telling us what all the real numbers are. That's what Department of Government Efficiency is all about. They're going to tell you all the money that's being wasted, and they're going to tell us like how badly we've been screwed, how much money actually is there, how much value do we actually have, all right? How bad, what are the real economic numbers right now? What is the real unemployment rate right now? When these things come, guys, we're going to see, guys, it's literally the Great Depression where things were not as good. Things were not as good as people thought that they were. People know they're bad right now. No one can get a job. Everyone's being fired. Everyone's doom spending right now and living off credit. And when daddy's home, he's pissed and he's taking his belt off, and all of the people that did this, they're going to be running for the exits. Like, I will tell you right now, don't be surprised when some of these people do begin to leave America. They said last time they would leave America if Trump got elected. Well, this time they really will leave America because they're going to become international fugitives for what they have done. All right? These people are going to be overseas, living in caves, living underground, all right? Trying to get off the planet if they can, all right? Head out to the International Space Station because they know that someone is coming for them. When people find out what they have done, what they have stolen, I'm telling you right now, it is much worse than Elon Musk is letting on. It is much worse than Trump is letting on. We all know it's worse than these people are letting on. All right. They try to be optimistic about fixing this. We know, guys, we know that Trump cannot fix this. Trump cannot fix this economy. All right. He can just, the best he can ever do is stop it from getting worse or slow it down. That's the very best. He cannot reverse inflation because guys, when prices go down, that's called deflation. When they say that inflation is going down, they don't mean that prices are going down. They mean that prices are going up slower. So the high prices that we're paying for everything, that's not going to stop. We're going to continue paying those crazy prices for everything. People can't afford to buy food anymore. People cannot afford to eat anymore. No one is living anymore. Everyone is broke. No one has money. It's an absolute global catastrophe. Don't think this is limited to the United States. If you think things are bad here in the U.S., the cost of certain things are even more insane in some countries overseas. Even in the EU, certain things like certain high-end electronic products, they cost even more than they cost in the U.S. PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, it costs 700 in the US. It costs 800 euros in the EU. How the heck is that even possible? The cost of everything is skyrocketing. The cost of food is insane. Guys, like I pick up just a handful of groceries and it's $200. And I'm looking at it like, okay, well, maybe I can put this back. This is, guys, right now, I'm buying groceries and just for like 4 or 5 days worth of food, just for like 4 or 5 days worth of food in groceries, it's literally like $200, and it's insane. Angry, where are you shopping for groceries? Walmart. Well, you shouldn't be shopping at Walmart, guys. That's a level of stupidity. All right, the average person does not have time to go to all of these, other places. Like, even when you're buying in bulk, you're not always saving buying in bulk. It's the truth. Like, you do the comparisons, you're like, and you think that you're saving money buying in bulk, and the reality is you're not. It's insane what these people have done. And when people find out what these people have done, many of them will flee the country because they are heading to prison, and it will literally be international criminals.
Somebody responded with this, and I quote, "It's not only Walmart that is doing this. I was told something very similar at Target and Sam's Club recently. Do yourself a favor and make sure whenever you plan to pay with cash, you go to the bank and get the best looking bills you can find. That is the only way to get around this." Unfortunately, this is true. Yes, you can go into a bank and say, you know what, I have this $1 bill, has a tear in it, and I've been getting some issues with some businesses that they don't want to accept this. Can you give me a new one? And they'll be like, okay, yeah, let me just take that really quick. And they'll look at it, they'll inspect it, and again, tellers, this is their job to know if it's real or fake. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's good. Here you go. Here's your new bill. And they'll give you, it won't be probably a brand new bill, but it's going to be something very close. It'll be in great condition, and it should be acceptable at any business. Okay, great. Now, I want to show you something else. Okay? But first, I want to give you this, I want to read this comment to you. Another person wrote to me and said, and I quote, "I wish it was only $1 bills, but every denomination is being treated the same way. I work at a bank, so I'm constantly seeing our tellers check bills and then reissue a different bill. It's scary to think that within the next 20 years, we likely won't be using any bills to pay for goods." This is true. That in the next 20 years, so we're in 2024, by 2044, there could be an end to paying with cash. Now, this could happen much sooner. There's already certain states that are trying to go cashless, but there's other ones that are banning cashless businesses. You have to accept cash. Okay? This is legal tender. You need to be able to accept this. If you don't, that creates an issue.
And that's the solution right there. Okay? It gives, by saying that your money is damaged, oh sorry, we don't accept this bill because it has this problem with it and that problem with it. Guys, how many people are going to go to what are you going to do? Go to the cops? Go to the state? What are you really going to do? You're not going to do much about it. And then here's the thing. You can also complain enough. And if you complain enough, they'll get a manager. The manager will say, okay, don't worry. You know what? Let them accept it. We'll accept this. But, please, next time you come here, just know that this is going to happen all over again. So just make sure that, you have your bills and they're in good shape. And this is what they'll do every time. They know what they're doing because they're trying to force us into a cashless society. All of the corporations are working together. They are all working together. All the major corporations are working together to create a cashless society so they control the money supply. Guys, who do you think is loaning out this money? Who do you think owns the damn banks? You ever heard of GE Capital? What is GE Capital? All right? They're a lending company. But who owns GE Capital? General Electric. You see, guys, after the computers came around, after women entered into the workforce back in the 1970s, and they started paying people less, and wages began to go down because of the actions of the boomers. These companies that had so much money, That what they did was they started creating banks and institutions to hold their money, and they began loaning that money back to society and even their own employees. So the money that they should be getting, now they can go and borrow that money and pay interest to use that money. That's how absolutely evil it is. But they got so greedy, they began loaning out so much of it that now they're at the point where they're in a lot of trouble, because if even a how do I put this? If even 10% of people come and say, like, if people say, hey, we won't even take 10% of our money out of the banks, 10%, you heard me, guys, it would likely result in the banks collapsing. How can I be so sure about that, guys? We have $90 trillion of deposits, $90 trillion of deposits, but the banks don't have that money. And the FDIC will only cover just over $100 billion. So these banks cannot even, guys, that's less than 1% of all the deposits in the United States. These banks don't have that money. These companies don't have that money. So it's a combination of greed and a combination of desperation, because they don't want you using money anymore. The state doesn't want you using physical money so they can track you. The businesses, they want to make money off the money that you spend, and they do that with credit cards and debit cards. And also there's the issue of liquidity. The money that they've made up out of thin air, it doesn't exist. There's no bank out there that, for example, they loan out this amount of money, or, you go to the bank and, you're making a purchase online. None of that money exists. There's no physical representation of that money. So they're basically trying to crack down on it. It's one big scam. It's one big scheme. And they're basically just like sticking on like duct tape here and there. It's like a ship that's about to explode, because like it's off of all the pressure. And it's all the wear and tear. It's a load of crap, and the junk is about to fall apart. And they're sticking on duct tape here and there, trying to patch up things. As one part leaks, they're putting on some tape. But eventually, it's just gonna all fall apart and blow up right in their faces. And of course, when it does all come crashing down, they're not going to be the ones who suffer. It's going to be the consumer. They'll be, going before Congress, and as Congress grills them, and people begin going absolutely ballistic because they cannot get access to their money. And then we end up finding ourselves in a major economic meltdown, much larger than the Great Depression. Guys, I've heard people refer to it as the Greater Depression. That's what they're going to call the next depression, the Greater Depression.
Now, with that said, where do we go from here? Well, here's what I can tell you. At some point, all businesses, whether you go into a coffee shop, you go into a fast food restaurant, you go into a big retail store, maybe even a car dealership, and you try to pay with cash, with certain types of cash, like this one that's kind of ripped. Well, here's the problem. At some point, every single business is going to say, you know what? We can't accept that. Do you have another dollar bill? Do you have another $5, another $50, or $100 bill? Can you replace that? That's what they're going to ask. But after talking to several people that do work at banks, they're saying the same thing when it comes to cash for them. Eventually, the banks are going to say, you know what? Yeah, I see it's ripped. I actually can't give you anything for it. We actually don't accept those anymore. Sorry, but kind of just going to have to hold on to it. It's just a loss. So here's what I'm telling you right now. According to multiple bankers, they're all saying the same thing. That $1 bills are fine. Okay, you don't really need to be concerned there, because it's just a $1 bill. But something like a 10, a 20, a 50, or 100, go and get a new one. Okay, if your $100 bill, okay, looks like this. Okay, now let me just tell you this right now. This is a fake $100 bill. I would not rip this up like this. Okay, this is fake. It says for motion picture use only. Okay, if it's ripped, the corner's torn, multiple rips, there's 2 here, right? Every single corner is missing pieces. If that was the case, take that into your local bank. Go, okay, They'll give them this one. Go and get this one. Go and get a new one. Okay? That's what you need to do. As far as the $1 bill, bankers say it's not really a big deal because it's just $1. Now, again, it's all the eye of the beholder. If $1 is a lot of money to you, and you got several $1 bills that are ripped and torn and not in great condition, take them to the bank, get them switched out. According to reports, okay, and I've asked a few bankers this, can anybody come into your bank and give you a $1 bill and say, hey, can you replace this? And according to, so I've asked several. One of them said, yes, anybody can come in. Others say no. Not anybody can just walk into the bank and ask for a new $1 bill. You have to be a customer. So, unfortunately, if you are unbanked, then you may not have the ability to do this. So if you're homeless, don't have a bank account, you might not be able to go into a bank and replace your $1 bill or $50 or $100 bills. But if you do have a bank account with a specific branch, go into that bank, tell them, hey, this is my issue, this is what I'm facing, and ask them to replace your money.
And do you see that, guys? It's just another way of keeping you locked into the system, keeping you trapped in the banking system indefinitely, guys. All right? They want your money. They want you. They don't want you to have any freedom. That's why crypto is freedom, guys. Crypto is freedom. All right? You have all kinds of cryptocurrency. You have stable coins, okay? You have stable coins that you can use that are pegged to the United States dollar, and you can use those just like you would use cash. You can keep your money in stable coins, guys, and this way, the U.S. government cannot, they can't touch your money. Is crypto traceable? Of course it is traceable, but it's not. They cannot just take it from you. They can't just take your money like they can take it from your bank account. They can't just say your money is not acceptable. Some of you are like, well, what am I going to do if things go downhill? It's not like you're going to be able to use that crypto anyway. Of course it is. That's how people, guys, there are tons of places that accept cryptocurrency. You can use your crypto everywhere. All right. Crypto exists on what we call a decentralized ledger. Okay. And everyone in the world can have a copy of that ledger. Everyone can have a copy of the Bitcoin ledger. It's giant right now. It's absolutely huge. All right. It's like a couple gigabytes at this point, but everyone can have a copy of the of the Bitcoin ledger, and every single transaction that's ever been done is recorded in that ledger. And that is the power of cryptocurrency. That's what makes it so transparent. And it's limited supply. There's only 21 million Bitcoins. So there's fewer Bitcoins for every millionaire in the United States. Not every millionaire in the US can have a Bitcoin of their own, let alone the entire world. That's the reason, guys, it's scarcity, and they cannot make any more of them. Versus the United States dollar, where they can just keep printing as many as they want to, and then the value of them declines rapidly. That's how we ended up in this mess. A big portion of it is they printed all of that money during the events of 2020 out of thin air. It diluted the money supply and it reduced the value of our money. So people were going out and spending large amounts of money that were printed out of thin air, but it didn't come from anywhere. It wasn't money that the United States government had. It was just money that they made up, and now we're paying the price for it with hyperinflation. Americans, and not just Americans, but people around the world, are going to begin to see a major decline in living standards coming very, very soon. Elon Musk has already said that people should brace themselves for a short period of hardship. Okay, like things are going to get really bad. He already knows that the banks are lying, the corporations are lying, the United States government is lying, everyone is lying. Things are very, very bad, and they've been taking advantage of us. We don't have money to spend. We're going to end up in a situation like Argentina. That guy is an economist, where he basically said, "We are broke. We are broke. We are broke. We are broke. We do not have any money." There's no money for public programs. And there are people over there who absolutely hate him because he's showing the receipts and he's saying there is no money. And the people, the Marxists, the socialists who put Argentina in that situation they're furious with him, because even though there's no money in the country, even though they drove the country to poverty, they still are demanding that they print money out of thin air, even though there is no money. You say to these people, you show them the receipts and you say, "We don't have any money." And they respond, "Well, then go and get some, borrow some." And you say, if we do this, it is only going to make the money worth less. We have nothing of value to peg it to. And they go, I don't care. And guys, when these people, they drive us into the ground, they destroy their countries, they then flee their country and they go to another country that has not been destroyed yet, and then they try to institute the same horrible policies that they utilize to destroy their countries. These are some very, very bad people. Bad people, bad apples, bad apple, y'all. Bad apples, y'all. Very bad apples. That's why we are in terrible trouble, guys. We are in horrible trouble right now. You need to start diversifying. Do not keep all of your money in the bank. Keep some of your money at home. Have a lockbox at home. You think I'm full of crap? No, I'm not full of crap, guys. Have $1,000 on hand, at least $1,000 if you're capable of doing it, on hand at all times. All right, in your home. If you can do more than that, that's perfectly fine. Have a safe at home. All right. If you have, guys, if you have $100K in the bank, take out $10,000, put it in your home. All right. Not in a not in a safe deposit, not in like a safe deposit box or a lock box, because when crap hits the fan, none of those will be accessible. No, have money put aside at home. It doesn't have to be your entire net worth, but have money that you can afford to lose, but it's still a relatively decent amount of money that can save you if you are in a bind. So many guys, people who are millionaires right now, and have substantial amounts of money, but they think that their money is safe and all of their money is in the bank. When crap hits the fan, they will be homeless immediately, going back and forth to the bank, begging for money, and then they just go to the bank, and one day and the bank is gone, and now they have to go through the FDIC. Guys, these are the kinds of things that used to happen in Mexico, where, like, you'd put your money in the bank, and then all of a sudden you go to the bank, and the next day the bank is gone. All right. And it's been replaced by an entirely other bank. And they tell you that they can't help you. Your money, they don't know they don't know anything about that other bank. And your money is gone. And that's it. And it could be the exact same people who are working on the previous bank who are now working at this brand new bank. And they're telling you they have nothing to do with it and they don't know anything about that. And they gaslight you. That's what happened. That regularly happens in other countries. And I know people that it's happened to. And that's what's going to happen to many of you. And you'll be bums on the streets, guys. I was out there. I experienced hardship. I experienced homelessness. You're not built for it. It took me years to physically recover from homelessness. Okay, I was homeless for 8 months, guys. I was in such bad shape that a piece of the bottom of my foot fell out. My flesh had gotten hard. It had gotten it started rotting. It got hard, and then eventually it fell out like a rock, and I had to wait until like it just grew back in. Thankfully, it grew back in, but that's my experience. After I finally got off the street, I then went and got a big physical, and I went and got a physical, and to find out the kind of condition that I was in. Thankfully, I was not as bad as I would have thought, although I did have a huge cancer scare. Some of you that followed me 10 years ago know about my cancer scare, and that's what led me to having to like drop out of my PhD program. That was the reason why I dropped out. And it was horrible because I had lived such a hard life. Y'all aren't built for it. Gen Z is not built for it. And many of you that are older now are not built for it. I went through it when I was in my early 30s, when I was right around 30 years old. I'm 41 right now. Like I said, it was over 10 years ago. Okay. Maybe it was almost like, it was well over 10 years ago, like talking around like maybe pushing into 14. But you're not built for that life. You are not built for hardship. You're not built for homelessness. You're not built for poverty. You are not built for any of that. Okay. You have to diversify your income. Guys, also have precious metals. Crypto, guys, crypto, all right? Crypto right now is serious. They say cash is king. Have cash on hand. But do not misunderstand that the value of your money is rapidly declining. And there are a lot of you will say that, oh, it doesn't angry or crazy, and we won't even be able to use gold. Guys, you're fools. There are many places in the United States that accept gold. You go to like airports, like the duty frees, and like they some of these places accept gold. Gold is a standard around the world. The dollar, don't let people tell you that the dollar is the standard. The gold is the standard, all right? Gold is the standard. Silver is good. Hold on to gold. Gold, that's the golden standard. Have some silver. Tuck that away. Silver coins, silver whatever. Have some silver. Make sure that it's real, but have something physical. All right, you can buy these things from Costco now. Evidently, you need to have something of value. Do not be fooled by these idiots right now that are trying to tell you that you will own nothing and be happy, guys. You will own nothing and live in poverty. All right. And there's these jerks in my comments who are talking about, AGI, artificial general intelligence, where it basically can now perform all the functions of a human being, so no jobs will be required anymore. Don't listen to those idiots. We're heading towards the creator's economy where you'll have to be able to create value for others. Those 9-to-5 jobs are going away, but you're still going to have to go out there and find a way to survive and work. This universal high income that Elon is talking about is a lie, okay? This great utopia where everyone's going to be receiving fat checks of like $10,000 or more, which is only going to result in even more inflation. Fat checks of like $10,000, $15,000 a month, and work will now be optional. That's BS, guys. The red guys, if you're getting $10,000 a month guess what? They're gonna be the rents are gonna go up to like 8,000. All right. If you're getting 10K a month from the U.S. government, the rent's gonna go up to like 8,000, 9,000. You will have next to nothing left over. All right. And maybe if you're like, well, at least my rent is paid. You've got to be kidding me. It's not gonna work out the way they're telling you, guys. It's not. And by the way, guys, shout out to the 1 hour gang. Shout out to the 1 hour gang. Shout out to the 1 hour gang. 1 hour gang. 1 hour gang. You know where you are. You know who you are. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. Guys, they're in trouble. The banks are in trouble, and we are in trouble as well. Diversify, diversify, diversify. Check out my cryptocurrency academy. It's linked in the description. Learn crypto. Learn how to diversify. Don't let the banks take advantage of you. Don't let them have all of your money. Guys, it's only going to get worse before it gets better. It's not really going to get better, though. All right? Let me know what you think. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away. And cheers.